Even despite of the announcements at D23, even Marvel Studios can't seem to avoid the inevitable. Now, it is common knowledge at this point in that both Sony and Disney have bad blood with one another in terms of the whole Spider-Man deal and how both companies are unable to find some common ground. And despite of some reports still suggesting in that the negotiations are still ongoing, recent developments on the story does suggest in that the deal is completely done and Spider-Man is out of the MCU completely, or at the very least for the foreseeable future. And after a few days since the original news came to light, both Kevin Feige and Tom Holland have finally broken their silence and have recently expressed their disappointment with Spider-Man being excluded from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, this comes courtesy of the Entertainment Weekly during the recent interview. And first I'm going to cover on what Kevin Feige had to say surrounding the whole ordeal. "I'm feeling about Spider-Man's gratitude and joy. We got to make 5 films within the MCU and Spider-Man, 2 standalone films and 3 with the Avengers. It was a dream that I never thought would happen. It was never meant to last forever. We knew there was a finite amount of time that we were able to do this, and we told the story we wanted to tell, and I'll always be thankful for that." Now, like I mentioned in the previous video, Marvel Studios had next to no say with the whole deal between Sony and Disney, and they were even willing to continue with the 5% deal. While Kevin Feige is trying his best to be as positive as he can possibly be, you can sense that it is difficult for him to let go of Spider-Man given that he was meant to be an important character for the future of the MCU. But like I said, Kevin Feige wasn't the only person who discussed their recent disappointments surrounding the deal, as Tom Holland also had this to say. "Basically, we've made 5 great movies. It's been 5 amazing years. I've had the time of my life. Who knows what the future holds, but all I know is that I'm going to continue playing Spider-Man and having the time of my life. It's going to be so much fun, however we choose to do it. The future for Spider-Man will be different, but it will be equally as awesome and amazing, and we'll find new ways to make it even cooler." Now, if you see Tom Holland in any interviews, then you would know that he is incredibly humble and positive and is grateful for the opportunity of continuing with Spider-Man despite of the recent conflicts. And sure, one can argue that he is only saying this purely because he is still obligated into being Sony's Spider-Man. But at the same time, he can't exactly badmouth Sony because that would be a bad move on his end. And why I'm bringing all of this up is because if you look back on both Kevin Feige and Tom Holland's comments, then it is clear as day in that Spider-Man is no longer in the MCU. Or at least not until Disney and Sony can finally get their heads out of their asses and come up with an agreement. But with the way everything is looking out so far, it doesn't seem like the agreement will happen anytime soon. We have only seen the MCU version of Spider-Man for about 3 years, and it does suck to see a story end before it can really begin. And sure, there are a good chunk of fans who are happy about this, as they weren't keen on this incarnation of Spider-Man to begin with. And if you are one of those fans, that is perfectly okay, but you've got to understand that with Sony and their previous attempts with Spider-Man, especially in more recent years, unless you're talking about the animation side of things, they are pretty clueless on what to do with Spider-Man. And it is a little difficult to decipher on whether the new incarnation of Spider-Man will be good or bad in the near future, but either way you look at it, the whole news surrounding Spider-Man's future is concerning to say the least. So how do you personally feel about Spider-Man being completely done in the MCU for the foreseeable future? Are you still disappointed in that Sony and Disney are letting go of Spider-Man in the MCU, or do you think this might be a publicity stunt? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Take care and have a good one.